επειδή ήταν πάρα πολλές παρουσιάσεις όλης της μέρας, δεν θα κάνουμε πολλές παρουσιάσεις. Κυρίως θα είναι η παρουσίαση από τον κύριο Λέο Βάντεμπουκ από τη MARIKO, προκειμένου να μας δώσει εμπειρίες που σχετίζονται περισσότερο με την εφοδιαστική αλυσίδα. Καθώς τα συμπεράσματα που βγήκαν σήμερα, τουλάχιστον από εμένα, είναι ότι το θέμα της εφοδιαστικής αλυσίδας έχει ιδιαιτερότητες για την Ελλάδα και είναι ένα πράγμα το οποίο πρέπει να προσέξουμε, γιατί αν γίνει λάθος εκεί, αυτό θα οδηγήσει σε άλλες καταστάσεις. Και το δεύτερο έχει να κάνει με το θεσμικό πλαίσιο και με τα περιβαλλοντικά θέματα. Είναι δύο από τα θέματα που εμείς ως ΕΚΕΤΑ διαπραγματευόμαστε μέσω του αρχιπελάγους LNG και θέλουμε να τα αναδείξουμε. Και εκεί θεωρούμε ότι υπάρχει και η κοινοτομία που είναι το ενδιαφέροντός μας. Θα ήθελα λοιπόν I would like to thank Leo Vandenbroek for coming here in Athens. And Mr. Mitsotakis, do you want to... Yeah.
Θα ήθελα να σας πω ότι είχαμε να κάνουμε δύο μεγάλες σχετικά παρουσιάσεις. Η μία ήταν από το ΕΚΕΤΑ και η άλλη από τη MARIKO, από το Vandenbroek που είναι μαζί μας, από το Λέο που είναι μαζί μας εδώ. Για την οικονομία του χρόνου και επειδή σεβόμαστε και τη δικιά σας προσπάθεια που πίνατε μέχρι τώρα μαζί μας, θα ξεκινήσουμε με τον Λέο, ο οποίος θα μας μεταφέρει την εμπειρία που υπάρχει στη Βόρεια Ευρώπη, την εμπειρία της Ολλανδίας και της Γερμανίας, στη Βόρεια Θάλασσα. Η δικιά του παρουσίαση δεν είναι σε αυτό το USB που έχετε πάρει. Όσοι δεν το έχετε πάρει, έχουμε μερικά ακόμα μαρία USB, μπορείτε να τα πάρετε. Εδώ μέσα θα βρείτε και την παρουσίαση, η οποία πιθανόν να μην γίνει σήμερα για να κερδίσουμε τον χρόνο να τον δώσουμε στον κύριο Vandenbroek. Οπότε, θα ήθελα να αφήσετε και τα email σας όσοι δεν τα έχετε αφήσει, για να σας στείλουμε και τη δικιά του παρουσίαση. Όλες τις παρουσιάσεις για το αρχιπέλαγος θα τις βρείτε σε αυτό το USB. Όσοι δεν το έχετε, μπορείτε να το προμηθευτείτε έξω στο τραπέζι.
Και για να συμπληρώσουμε, να σας διευκολύνουμε, υπάρχει ένα ερωτηματολόγιο, δεν ξέρω αν το έχετε προμηθευτεί όλοι. Αν όχι, η Μαρία που κάθεται εδώ αριστερά μπορεί να σας το δώσει. Θέλουμε να προσπαθήσουμε να το κάνουμε λίγο διαδραστικό, γι' αυτό βάλαμε κάποιες ερωτήσεις, στις οποίες θα θέλαμε την άποψή σας. Οι ερωτήσεις είναι πολύ σύντομες. Και εκεί πάνω μπορείτε να σημειώσετε και τα στοιχεία σας και το email, προκειμένου να αποσταλεί η παρουσίαση. So, Leo, the floor is yours. Please, travel us to the LNG world. Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, that's better. Good afternoon. My name is Leo van der Burg. I'm from the Netherlands, and I will thank this organization, especially CERT, to being here. My first visit in Greece ever, and very sad that I have to go tomorrow back to our country, which we have. Yeah, we have a temperature at this moment about 8 degrees, 10, but always with a lot of water. So I'm very happy to be here, not only because of the weather. I'd like to tell you something about our experience about how this new fuel is working out in the northern part of Germany, the northern part of the Netherlands. First, something about me. My job is project management, and I'm working for this university. It's a university of applied sciences, so not much research, but doing things. And that's also the important thing in our projects and how we work. We work together with our good neighbors. Our good neighbors in this case are our German neighbors, and we work together with the University of Applied Science in Germany, in this case in Leer. That's a city 20 kilometers about our border. These institutes are close connected with these universities because universities don't do projects. We have knowledge centers, what's in the name, but what we are doing as project manager is to connecting the companies and the schools with each other. And that's one of our important things. And the subject is not really important in this case. And I'm working for 5 years on this LNG case. But it could also be other cases and other colleagues of me in these knowledge centers working on other subjects. Yacht building, for example, is really, really important in our country. Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's too much. Something about the building, it's only stones. That's the building in Germany. And the governments in our countries give us the opportunity to doing this job. Only not because they love LNG or something else, but they love that we create jobs in our country, in our area. Jobs are the most important things which we will work out. And LNG and creating jobs, that's maybe something you don't discuss this morning or yesterday, but that's our main target. I don't like a lot of text. My presentation is about how we creating jobs, how we are connecting companies to these universities, and how we deal with this LNG thing. So it starts with creating our network. I'd like to tell you a small thing about how that works. Then we start with pilot projects. We talk with companies, they invite us to talk with us about their plans. After that, I would like to tell you something about the success of these working thing. The success is that there are a lot of ships at this moment which we are building with LNG. So I'd like to show you some of the new ships and the ships that are already built and sailing now for a few months. And I would like to tell you something about 2 harbors in our area. One of the harbor of Harlingen, that's in the northern part of the Netherlands, with sails with ferries to our islands in the North Sea. And the other harbor, it's quite different harbor with other ships. And I'd like to tell you something about volume and bunker perspectives about these 2 harbors with 2 different ships types. And then, in my opinion, how it works at this moment, a bunkering solution. So that's in a short overview my presentation. Please, if you have questions, not a problem to ask them immediately. I like to have a discussion with you. Okay.
So we follow the interactive of the presentation. Okay, so
that's not a problem.
Okay.
Mr. Adamus asked me last Friday afternoon, could you give a presentation? And I said, oh yeah, we do that a lot. But after it, I worked for 3-4 hours on this presentation because you want to give something new. But I like to do that. This is our area. Of course, you don't recognize, I think, this area. And actually, the same in my situation. Before I traveling to Athens this morning, I had a little discussion with my wife yesterday evening. Okay, what are you going to do tomorrow? Why are you going? How it looks like. So the maps and the islands here are unknown, but this is our area. This is the North Sea. And this is Netherlands, and this is a really, really small part of Germany. The Netherlands has about 60 million people who are living in the Netherlands, and Germany has about, do you have any idea? 85. Yeah, 85. So it's for us a really big country, and nice part of this area is that we are connecting because of this island. These islands are located in the Wadden Sea area. And that is why we strongly connected with each other when it goes about green shipping. So I'm living here somewhere in the neighborhood of the North Sea, and my Dutch colleagues are living here in the neighborhood of Emden, a city. So networking, my colleague Katja Bouwman, my German colleague is a, we call it a network tiger. That means for us it's really important that we know each company in our area. Of course, maybe not each, but we know a lot of companies, and that's the main thing in our work. If we don't have discussions with our companies, we don't have innovations, we don't have work. And actually in 2011, one of our companies in Germany who sails to the islands in the North Sea with ferries asked us, what is for our new ships the most or the best technology when it goes about green shipping? We want to reduce emissions in the future, not because of the law of regulations, because they are already sailing on MGO. So with these SECA areas or something, they don't have to deal with it. They choose for LNG because they want to do it of their island, the people that lives on the island. They want to do it for this Wadden Sea, with respect of this sea. And they invite us, and we said, okay, maybe some new fuels are coming up, LNG, it's maybe a solution. And that's how it starts. We talk with these companies.
It was a demand of them. You mean from the people who lives in the area?
Yeah.
It was a demand.
Yeah, they want to transport the people who goes to the islands with respect of this Wadden Sea, and that's why they choose for better fuels on behalf of, for example, not only the emissions but also the noise reduction. This Wadden Sea ferry at this moment sails for 4 months now, and I was the project leader of this major conversion, and the people who sails on this Wadden Sea ferry don't have any idea that is in the first ferry in the Netherlands and Germany that sails with a new fuel. They are also not interested in this new fuel, but they said, okay, nice thing that there's no black smoke, and the noise, the sound, it's really lovely because you have no knocking in the diesel engines. So these passengers are very lucky with this new ship. But LNG, that's not the words that they are knowing. But the network, that's how it starts. And of course we go with this network to one of the first ships to look how it functions, for example, in Norway. And that's really important. These are not companies in 2011 which are specialized in LNG. I just talked with someone here about it's easy to buy an LNG tank from China. That's something we don't want. We want to make that tank in our area. We have some tank builders in our area make tanks for beer. So we invite them, okay, we need tanks. Actually, you make very good tanks, but for beer. Do you have interesting to make tanks in the future for these ships where we can transport LNG? And they said, okay, a nice idea. We talked with 3 or 4 of these companies, and one of them said, okay, it's our business opportunity for the future. And now they are involved in one of our new projects to make tanks, pressureless tanks. Not tanks with high pressure, not tanks with 10 bars. In our opinion, we need tanks with less pressure. Pressure costs money, and we need more price reduction on these tanks. So we construct at this moment with a new group of companies, new tanks with low pressure. And also we need low pressure engines, and that's possible. So that's how things work in networking. So we visit, we do a lot of nice things with groups of companies, and also we mixed with professors from these university, and we mix it also with students. And students are an important thing in some research. This is our new project. We have the luck that the European Union, yeah, onions. And my problem is I talk the whole day German, because Germans don't talk Dutch, so the Dutch have to talk German. Small and big. And then to change to English, that's a little bit problem, but excuses. This is our new project, but the European Union said, okay, 50% of your budget we will fund because of this cooperation. And it's not depending on the subject. LNG is not why we get funding, but we get funding because we cooperate. And that's funny. And our government says, okay, if you're doing your job very good, you're creating new jobs, and you can show it to us. We come to visit you and we will show, we want to see these new jobs, then you get 10%, and the German government says also you get 10%, and in the end we get 70% of our budget funded. This is our new project. It's a 10 million project, and we get 7 million from funding.
Yeah. Could you please repeat what exactly did the European Union fund? What was the part? What was the explanation?
50.
Yeah, the explanation for funding.
Cooperation.
The cooperation.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah, just that. Yeah.
Between the two countries, or because you were involved in two countries?
They are funding the cooperation between the northern part of the Netherlands and the northern part of Germany, because we are poor areas.
Okay, cooperation between two countries and companies.
Yeah, our government is in the west of the Netherlands, and they think always that the northern part is the poor part, so they give a lot of extra funding to create new jobs. Because of this cooperation, we create extra new jobs, extra new opportunities.
Under which instrument?
It's an Interreg. Interreg 5. Yeah, and that's our luck. And the other 30% is funded by the companies. So that means the companies is also paying, because, and that's good. Interreg here is our new project, 36 months, and that's also nice. It's not a short project. We have a little bit time to work out these innovations. Our new project is building on our old project. We start, and I'd just like to tell you something about our old, but what we're doing now is going farther. And our big example was the development of LNG in Norway. But in our opinion, I don't know if people from Norway here? No? Is there already discussed about the NOx fund, NOx fund?
Yes.
Yes?
It was discussed by you.
Yeah, in our opinion, the NOx fund makes the companies a little bit lazy. Because this extra invest you get if you show your performance. And that's the other way around. Our company is thinking about, at this moment, how we get better business cases. We're changing technology. And we have to change technology because we must have price reduction. If we don't have price reduction, there is no future for LNG. That's why we create, with our companies and with our universities, a new project on this subject. Better emission profile, That's what we need. Everyone discussed, of course, about the good performance of LNG, but, for example, in our opinion, the greenhouse gases reduction or the CO2 reduction is too less. 20%, I think 20-25% reduction is possible, everyone said. But in our opinion, the real footprint could be better because we want to change our ships. If you creating new ships with less weight, then you have really an issue of getting better CO2 performance. So it's not only LNG that creates a better performance of the greenhouse gases, but you have to change your ships. And that's really important. Everyone thinks that you have to carry in your ship 40, 60, 100 cubes of LNG. Why? One of our ferry owners says, okay, for me it's possible to 6 or 7 cubes tank. I can tank every day. And
it's a short distance.
not a short distance. The sailing distance is 2 hours. Okay, that's short. Yeah, sorry. But he changed his mind of thinking. Every ship at this moment has a tank exactly the same volume as a truck load or more. And now we're changing. Okay, why don't we have less LNG on board? Then you need a more flexible bunkering solution. That's what I like to tell him in my thing about the harbors. Standardization. That's one of our topics. The cold box, the LNG installation needs more standardization. Without this standardization, every project costs too much money. So we make now a standardization of the complete LNG train, the tank, the cold box, and the engine. For example, we have a lot of fisher ships are really interesting in LNG as a fuel, but they need a standardized concept. And if we don't get this standardized concept, they never change to LNG. Cost reduction, that's clear. And we need really big cost reduction. For example, an LNG tanks cost you now €4,000 each cube of fuel volume. We have to go to 1,000. So we have to reduce it with a factor of 4. The price must really go down. Okay, our maritime project, that was our last project. We always construct projects with bigger companies who have a bigger horizon and more budget, and a combination with smaller companies. So a lot of small companies with big companies and research institutes together, they worked out our innovations in our project. I was project leader of this project, and the ship is now sailing for a few months. And it was a major conversion of an existing ship. This is a ferry who sails to the German islands. And in 2011 I had a discussion with this ship owner, and they said, okay, for us it's clear. We go farther with LNG. No matter what happens, we believe in it. And they had the luck, of course, that they get some extra funding to work out this. This is a major conversion. That means it's actually new build. This is new, and this one is old. So
sorry, how it is new? One part and the other part is not new.
This is the old ship, and they cut it in 2 halves, and they built the back part of the ship new.
The engine room is the new part.
No. This is really here. They cut it into pieces.
Yes.
This old part thrown away.
Yes.
And they built a complete new one with the new technology.
New engine room and the propeller, all the other.
Everything.
Not only
Everything.
all the accommodation.
All everything. every piece of steel, every exhaust system, every engine, everything new. So actually it's not a conversion, actually it's new build. And the question was, what kind of technology is possible in our ship? And of course, if you choose for dual fuel, in this case they choose after our study what is the best solution. They choose for a dual fuel engine because of these, if everything goes wrong in 2011, I guess in the Netherlands 4 people knows something about LNG. So if you make at that moment the decision to go further with LNG, it's of course quite good that you have a redundant concept. If everything goes wrong, you always can use MGO because of your dual fuel technology. Now new partners, the sales to other islands, choose for example lean burn, 100% LNG, not with diesel. But the concepts are really complex, and that's what's really is important. If you go on with this technology, you have to build knowledge in your research institutes, but also in your companies. If you don't have knowledge, you're not a good partner. For example, the class society. Class society overrules everything if you don't have knowledge. So you must have knowledge to have good answers to your class society. Otherwise, your ship cost you a lot of money. So to engineer, to develop new technology with smart solutions, you have to build knowledge in your company. Otherwise, don't start with it.
Sorry, so this you mean that in the construction of the part of the machine, all of this, the new part, I mean, it was in shipyard of your area?
Yeah.
And all the materials and everything of this technology is coming of your area?
Yeah.
And the engine is from what company is coming?
We have two lean burns from Mitsubishi and 2 dual fuel engines from Wärtsilä. And they are in a dual fuel gas electrical propulsion system. So that means 2 shuttle propellers with electrical engines, and the electrical comes from the generating of 4 engines. Yeah. And what is difficult for this shipbuilding company in Germany? The project management and the project know-how was the difficult part, is the difficult part. Too less knowledge, you don't get this project management in a good way. Because Wärtsilä has a lot of know-how. Mitsubishi has know-how. Then you have the complete electrical platform cost 900,000 euros. So that means it's really complex technology that, for example, react with the influence of the tide, if you understand what I mean. The sailing time is 2 hours from shore to the island. It's exactly 2 hours. In the past, the captain says, okay, 50 minutes, I go a little bit faster, I can drink a coffee, and then we go farther. Now he comes exactly on the second, precisely in the harbor. And the motor management is dealing with this. So which engine has to burn at this moment, at which level? It's really complex system. So you need a lot of know-how to deal with this system from several producers. And that's what I want to say. Know-how is really important. But at this moment, it is really a nice ship, and the sound is one of the most lovely things because it's so still. Quiet. So for this company, it was not a must. They can sail for the next 10 years with diesel, no problem because of regulations. But they decide, okay, the past was cool. They sail a lot of years with oil, but now they go farther with LNG. And this LNG, the choice of this LNG was the respect of nature of this Wadden Sea area. And I think we worked this out in a project with partners with building know-how in this project, because when the project was started, there was less know-how. Everyone has to learn, learning by doing, learning by building. And now what we're seeing, and that's also what we discuss with our government, what is the spin-off of your project? The spin-off means that after the project, the companies must have business in this technology, and they have business at this moment because they're getting orders for new ships, and that's our main target. They have to do something after the project. I don't want to talk about too much about the research, because otherwise it's a long story. But the nice thing is, students of this university are really interesting to do, for example, measurements on board. They measured the old ship, complete. Every consumer, every engine, they measured everything. They also measured at this moment the new ship, and they make analysis between the old and the new. And that's really nice to involve students in these kind of projects. And that's what is also, of course, my chef, his discussion with me is also, okay, you have a nice job, but my students are the most important thing. So involve students in your projects.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What was the part of innovation in this particular ship that had added value compared to the already existing LNG Norwegian, for example, ship?
Yeah.
What was the part that
Yeah.
had the added value?
The innovation was, of course, that it was the first ship. If you said, okay, was it new technology? No. There were, Wärtsilä makes a lot of engines, Mitsubishi makes a lot of engines, but nevertheless, the funding was not because of this innovation, but of this cooperation. And on the other hand, every euro in this project is spent good, because every company learns how to use all these technologies. And that's why they get business at this moment, and that's why we get a lot of new work in our area. So it's not rocket science. Yeah. They make a lot of analysis, these students, together, because students are nice, but always students under supervising of a research institute, for example. In the Netherlands we have TNO, maybe you know TNO. It's, I guess, comparable with CERT, I don't know. But then you get good quality, because students must deliver in the end also good quality in time. One of the discussions was for this ship, if I have no time, then you have to say it. One of the discussions of this ship was, it is an electrical propulsion. And everyone said, oh, electrical propulsion costs you, efficiency costs you in the end money. Why do you want it? Why? And electrical propulsion costs you, in the end, of course, energy and costs you money. But in this case, because of the intellectual power management, which gives a reaction on moving through the sea, on the tide, on the depth, on every parameter, it's more efficient than direct mechanical propulsion. And we can prove that because this is a graphic, and here you can see actually that this is not right what's here, but actually it's this one is direct mechanical and the red one is electrical, and that in this way you see that if you have a high speed, direct mechanical is more efficient. If you have a lower speed and then you big engines don't have to perform at 100%, the electrical platform is more efficient. What we studied is to move this point to the right side, and that's what happened, and that's why in this case this ferry is more efficient in this electrical propulsion system. But that's really a difficult study, but this is an example of my colleague from Wetzlar, because Wetzlar did also some parts of our project. They did the project management of the inland vessels, and I would like to show you later on some ships. But of course this says if you use a lot of LNG, you earn more money. That's really easy, because the more LNG, the more money you save in comparison to MGO, because of the price gap between these two fuels. At this moment there is no gap between the two fuels. That's why some vessels at this moment with the dual fuel engine sails on 100% MGO. That's of course not why we do this, but if the price of oil at this moment is so low, but that changed. This is the monitoring system that we built in this ferry. That means we collect all the data on board of the ship, we send it in the cloud, and we get it on shore, and we compare it with bunkering data, and we now get the first information about how many money you save in comparison to the older ship. So data monitoring, knowing what you're doing, that's really important. And yeah, what happens is this moment in the northern part of the Netherlands, these are the two first ships of Shell, built with Scania engines in an electrical propulsion system. Generator and
Scania generators.
yeah, Scania LNG generator.
Fabricated.
Yeah, these are the first two, and I guess that Shell will order 30 of these ships within a few weeks, months. 30. A lot. So that means the market will change if these big oil companies choose for LNG as a fuel. It's really big influence in our inland waterways systems, and that will positive be because of our infrastructure of LNG. So the market is really moving really big. I guess it's too much, but what we are seeing at this moment, that after these first pilot projects, the market is really moving now. Tugs are building with LNG, dredging with LNG, ferries with LNG, tankers with LNG, container ships with LNG, all ships built in the northern part of the Netherlands or the northern part of Germany. This ship is built in Spain. That's the first CNG ship in the Netherlands who sails to one of our islands. CNG, compressed natural gas, because the sailing area is 50 minutes. 50 minutes, and then we're back the whole day. And then, why they choose for CNG? Because they had gas on their island, and they make a compressed station to get their compressed gas. So a tank compressor on the island was easier than LNG trucks on your ferry to the island.
Sorry, this boat, how much distance between two ports that they
50
realize?
minutes. 50 minutes.
50
sailing
minutes,
time.
like Piraeus Egina, for example, 50 minutes.
15.
Ah,
It's Salamis.
Salamis Perama.
If you're here in the harbor, you can there. It's really short, and CNG. We now have to do with education, because our university are also the deliverables, the trainers. So we deliver the trainers for these crew, and CNG is really difficult if you talk about training. It's not described in the regulation. So, in my opinion, these big tanks on 200 bars compressed natural gas, it's something else. Yeah. This one, that's the neighbor island of this one, a Dutch island. This ferry owner decided to choose for 100% LNG. So that means no dual fuel engines on board. And I guess they chosen for Mitsubishi as engines in a generator situation. The question is it possible to have a direct mechanical solution with this Mitsubishi engines? And I guess that's what it looked like at this moment, that in the near future, I guess maybe the first ship could also be a direct mechanical lean burn Mitsubishi propulsion system. And that's new, because at this moment there is no ship who has a direct mechanical lean burn propulsion, only the Bergen engines in Norway. So that's new, and that's also what MAN is doing at this moment, and also MTU. They develop new lean burn engines who have more dynamic profile than the older lean burn engines. So the diesel has really then a concurrent in this LNG. Okay. Yeah, what also is a nice part, this is the Meyerwerft in Germany, makes these really, really big cruise ships for AIDA, for example, sorry. And they decide to build cruise ships 100% on LNG. And that's really, really a new thing in the world. So they ask us now, think about, with an expert group, about bunkering solutions, for example, when our ships are in Spain or in Greece. So things are happening, and when these big companies decide to go farther with LNG, I really like that, because if I see these big cruise ships, you only see the smoke, and that's changing. And this company has a solution with LNG, but also they are really, really involved in this waterstof, hydrogen. Yeah, hydrogen energy.
Hydrogen fuel cells?
Yeah, fuel cells. Yeah.
And they store hydrogen?
Sorry?
What do you mean? They store hydrogen and they use it?
No, not using at this moment, but they want to use it in the future. And the nice thing is that this company is about 15 kilometers from our German partners, and we have them in our technology steering group. So we do a lot of things with technology, but we also have really good partners to have the discussion with us of it is the good direction of your innovation project. Okay, the last thing I want to say is something about our two harbors. We have a lot of harbors, but I have two harbors as example. This one, Harlingen, that's a harbor in the close neighborhood where I live. No, Groningen. That's here, Groningen. And that's,
Groningen is nearby.
everything is small in the Netherlands, so 80 kilometers is a lot. And this German harbor, Wilhelmshaven, and the complete different harbors, complete difference. And what we do is that the harbor invite us to have a chicken egg discussion. So we have a workshop about chicken egg, and we call the workshop chicken egg, it's over. So no discussions about chicken egg because there is no issue. That was the workshop. And here is an overview. If you talk about the first movers in these harbors are the ferry owners. This is a conversion of a ferry, and this is a new build of a catamaran. They develop new ships with less weight. And less weight means also less weight on LNG on board. This company said, okay, 7 cubes of LNG is enough. So I want to have a bunker solution for 7 cubes each 2 days. So they need a flexible bunker solution. And our government is also a partner in this discussion. And they said, we will fund this new bunkering solution if you make sure that this bunker ship, this bunker ponton, is built in our area. Then we will fund this, independent from the LNG deliverers. So no Linde or Shell or GDF is involved in this project. Only local companies who build an infrastructure on the demand of this company. If you look, fisher ships are interesting. Trucks, we have about 250 trucks in the Netherlands who use LNG.
No compressed.
No, LNG.
LNG.
LNG. Yeah, we also have compressed natural gas, but we have about 250 trucks using LNG as fuel. So if you make a calculation about 1 ferry, 2 ferry, an inland vessel, 10 fisher ships, these are ships with 300 horsepower. So
It's a fishing boat?
yeah, this is a fishing boat.
Fishing boat.
For the Wadden Sea, and they only can use engines limited to 300 horsepower. So they're really interesting in a standardized LNG solution. If you make the calculation of all these ships, you need 3.5 truckloads every week. And this is the scenario, maybe that's possible the first 3, 4, 5 years. So building an infrastructure for 3.5 truckloads, it's not possible. Because 3.5 truck or 4 trucks each week, it's nothing. And these trucks coming from Belgium or Rotterdam, and they drive to the Netherlands with a truckload of 40 cubes or 35, and 4 truckloads, it's nothing. So you have to start with trucks and then see what's happening. But the nice part is that they start with building ships, and the truckloads are always available, and it's no problem to get them, so there are no risks. If you look at the bunkering solution at this moment, one of the companies in the area makes a bunkering ponton, a modular bunkering ponton. Start really small with this solution. This is a small tuck, with a small tank, and they make a modular concept. When the volume is increasing, they can easily put more tanks on the ponton. It's a really cheap solution. This solution we work out in our project, and our government said, okay, if it looks good and the companies can build that, we will fund it. And that makes for this harbor in the northern part of our country it possible that that things are happening. And then it's interesting for fisher ships to go farther with LNG, with trucks, etc. So it looks very positive at this way. Wilhelmshaven at this moment has 2 ships that possible can bunkering in Wilhelmshaven. This is a ferry who sails to Helgoland. That's a small island in the neighborhood of Denmark. And these bigger ships that come from Norway and sails to Wilhelmshaven and back. And if you look at these truckloads, there is the 15 trucks each week. 15. So that means 15 trucks in the harbor. That looks more and maybe too much. That means that one ship, it's not possible to bunkering with 1 truck. So you need 4 or 5 trucks. And that's not a nice view if you have 4 or 5 trucks for your ship to bunkering. So that's a harbor that needs another infrastructure. They need a small scale station. And if you look at these small scale stations, a truck invest costs you about 250,000 euros. So that's enough for the harbor of Harlingen. But if you look at a small scale station like this, it costs you 800 or 1 million euros. And a bunkering ship costs, of course, much more. The positive thing is at this moment, 3 ships are in building, bunkering ships. 1 from Lindegas, 1 from Shell, and 1 from GDF Suez. So with 1 or 2 years, these ships are ready. Yeah, they have a minimum of 500 cubes. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but this money comes from GDF Suez. I asked them, okay, give me a real price perspective of.
In United States,
Yeah.
on the 2nd of November, starts operating in batch at 2,200 cubic meters, costing 17 million and half.
Yeah, okay. So I think
It's a little cheaper. Dollar.
there's a little bit cheaper. No, it's in the same direction. Yeah.
With Caterpillar and
Yeah.
make trade now.
But that means 2 harbors needs different solutions.
Yes, different.
And in the Netherlands, you see that the government is really involved in fighting for their local companies, and that's a little bit other situation in Germany. So, my last slide is actually the bunkering of the first ferry in our sea, Wadden Sea. It's a bunkering situation of Lindegas, who delivers every 6 or 7 days 1 truckload to this ferry, loads about 35 cubes of LNG to this ferry in 1.5 hours, and it's actually without problems. And that is my story about LNG. So it's no rocket science. In the Netherlands we said learning by doing, and that's really what we did. Thank you.
Δεν ξέρω αν υπάρχουν ερωτήσεις που θα θέλετε να κάνετε στον κύριο Λέο. Κυρία Παχή.
No, we have... Για να κάνει την ερώτηση που θέλει να I can ask in English. Yes, I can speak in English.
Let's do it in English. Okay.
You mentioned something about cloud management, cloud storage of the data of the vessels. Can you share your knowledge about the necessity of this decision, and which kind of data do you store?
Okay. Okay, the presentation
Because
is not there.
third or fourth
I don't know.
PowerPoint.
We decide to have each consumer, so, okay, every engine on board. Yeah, it's a picture that's this one.
There.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. We in Groningen, one of our cities in the northern part, has a system RRISES. The name is not so good at this moment, but every consumer on board has an output. It's not so difficult because this ship has a huge electrical platform and gives you all the data that you want. So we collect all the data. They installed a little processor on board, and they visualized it because we have also an interaction with the captain, because he has to learn from his performance. So we learn because we get all the data in the database, and we know about how many kilowatts, for example, we are using at this moment in a real life track. And yeah, it starts now actually, because the electrical platform, the ship is sailing now for 3-4 months, but the complete system is not working as it should be. So they're engineering on it at the moment.
The follow-up system. The follow-up system is not working completely.
Now the ship is not working at the right way, because the management of all these systems, all these engines, these 4 engines, on the supervising of an overall electrical platform is really a hard job, and harder than we expect. So too hard actually. It looks easy. It's no rocket science, but a lot of engineers have a lot of problems with it. And but in 2-3 weeks it's ready, and then the electrical platform with these 4 engines are functioning as we planned, and then the monitoring system can also start with generating the real consumers.
So you built the application for this cloud storage. You built this application for the monitoring.
Yeah. And in the next project we go on with this, and then with real monitoring of the emission. Then we build in some sensors for the methane emission and the stickstoff, nitrogen, and the other. So real-time monitoring of emission is also going on.
Now it's not real time. Huh?
At this moment this is real time, yeah, but not the emission. The emission is not real time because we emission at once on one day. We did the emission measurements, and it's not a real time emission measurement. Yeah.
You said something about minimizing the cost of the tanks, which with what we fully agree. But you said that you could adopt a lower pressure requirement for the tanks. I understand you're referring to type C tanks, pressurized tanks, still not membrane tanks where you have atmospheric pressure. What is? Do you have an idea? Can you give us an idea of what will be the threshold of pressure you refer to? What would be the maximum pressure for the type of tank you refer to?
The pressure in end effect is depending on what your engine wants. The best situation is, of course, that you're creating a pressure in your tank that's the same pressure that's what your engines need. So some engines need high pressure and some engines need low pressure. So that means if you use engines with low pressure inputs and you use a high pressure tank, that's not the perfect situation. So yeah, then you have to reduce it, or you need pumps, or you need equipment to.
If it is low, you need pumps.
Yeah. So what we try to do in this project is to match your engine technology with your tank technology, and the idea is that we need more flexibility in your shape of your tank, and we want to have as less as possible pressure.
All right, but you don't have, let's say, a figure to tell us now, right now, about pressure. What would be the maximum pressure you refer, the maximum design pressure, I mean, for the fuel tank?
Less than 1 bar.
Less than 1 bar. Yeah. Okay, that's fairly low, because
yeah.
What we see is usually tanks built for a maximum pressure up to 5 bar for LNG. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But our idea is less pressure is less cost. That's easily said, but we have really good partners in this project, and I expect that it's not an easy project, but if we can deal with it, if we can reduce really the cost of these LNG tanks, and not only reducing the cost, but also changing the volume of these tanks, because Type C tanks, double isolated, needs a lot of space. In comparison with diesel, you need 4 times more space. And that's not possible if you want to use LNG on a fisher ship, because you don't have volume on a fisher ship. So you want to change something, and that's what this consortium is trying to do that, and yeah.
Do you have an idea of the minimization of cost you have achieved so far due to that pressure?
Yeah, 4 times.
4 times already?
No, what we expect is that we can reduce the price 4 times in comparison to a Type C. That's sportive, but it's our target. Yeah.
Leo, you mentioned that you create new jobs. Do you have an estimation how many jobs are being created or will be created, and what is the annual turnover coming from this business?
Yeah. Actually, that's the job of Katja Bouwman to calculate how many jobs. But I can give you an example. We did a job with Kofli. Kofli is actually Kofli is big as company in the Netherlands. About 8,000 people, but Kofli has a department in the northern part. It's really a small, independent company with 18 people, and now they are really involved in this LNG business. So I talked yesterday with the chief director, and he got 4 new employees because of all this new work. So a small company at this moment has more work because the ship that I'm showing are built in the neighborhood. And
you said that they are in a program to go on 30 new ships.
Yeah,
This means
that's only what Shell expect to order.
So it will be more.
Or inland transport,
Yeah,
river transport.
yeah.
This it will be for us, for the islands, for Greek islands. Between the islands, the transport, of course, to have different type of small boats, different part of different type.
Presume that the containers are.
I want to mention something of his presentation. Two things. First, the cooperation. They find money because they cooperate. It's important. For us, it's important. I'm sorry, but it's important. You know, our experience in Greece is important.
My colleague Katja Baumann said always, okay, we can also writing a cooking book. We get the same funding.
The second thing that I mentioned is that, in fact, you customize your production. This means that they build up a new boat because they wanted to connect two ports exactly. Of course, when your ship will be old, after 30 years, maybe you sell to us. And when this boat coming to us, we want to have it in the line from Piraeus to Creta. But there, we need another type of machine, another type of deck, and so on. This is, I think, it's one question that we have to take consideration, and to see that the resale value. This is the resale value for them, but for us, is that we have to customize the solution that we want to create.
Yes.
This is very important.
And you
Customize the solution, we need all this kind of infrastructure concerning the
Depends on the service, you mean. What service
everything.
you
It's
have to
everything.
offer,
Yeah.
you have to customize.
Or to know how to cooperate between us.
Yeah, that's what we like to do. I like to visit Greece. Yeah, but
Like that.
important is also that you have to think out of the box. The best engine room is no engine room.
The containers.
Why should you, with the conversion, convert your old engine room?
How much you have spent for the gas approved engine room? How much you have spent?
A lot.
I remember you told me there.
Yeah, but the strange situation is, if you look close at all these ships at this moment, the concepts are really different. And that has to do, and I already mentioned it, between the conversation of your ship owner company and the know-how and your classification organization. If you're talking with Lloyd's of a DNVRL or with Bureau Veritas or whatever, if you can change their minds and overrule them with a good concept, it's possible. And if you say nothing, you have to do it in their wishes.
And it's expensive, really expensive.
But as long you have an electrical propulsion, you don't care where is the engine room.
That's correct.
And you can put your engines inside the container, right?
Yeah. Yeah. These two ships from Shell has that concept,
Ah, well.
but with the wrong technology.
The wrong one? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to look at these detailed things about technology. Performance, and that's really important. Performance of engines are really big issue. Yeah, we have the story about Volkswagen at this moment. We don't want to have that in our ships. So, you know what I mean?
Volkswagen case.
Yeah.
So is there any other question?
The question is the money.
This is always a question for many years now, in case.
Cooperate to find money.
Ah, yes. We have money. Money, our money.
Armani.
Armani.
Money, our money.
Το κλείνουμε. Μια τελευταία παράκληση, όσοι δεν έχετε συμπληρώσει το ερωτηματολόγιο, αν μπορείτε να το συμπληρώσετε και να το δώσετε στη Μαρία που τα μαζεύει. Thank you, Leo, for the excellent presentation.
Thank you for being here.
You always, please give the light at that. At least you always.
And that's always what we say when we're asking for money, actually. Thank you very much.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ για όσους μείνατε μέχρι τώρα και ελπίζουμε να σας ξαναδούμε στις επόμενες διοργανώσεις. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.